She's a global star, recipient of numerous accolades, ranging from Film Fame Awards to National Film Awards, Padma Shri. So when it comes to Priyanka Chopra, the list of achievements is really long. But as of now, she is the global ambassador or the goodwill ambassador for UNICEF. And in that course, she's back to Uttar Pradesh, the state where she has lived a considerable period of her life as a teenager. Thank you, Priyanka, for talking to Network 18. My first question, I was seeing your Instagram reel yesterday, and you said that you are willing to see where the needle has shifted when it comes to the women issues or the gender sensitization. Over the past 2 days, you have visited hospitals, you have visited 1090. What's your first experience about the change? Do you see a positive change in the state of Uttar Pradesh?
Well, I think there's a massive change that needs to be happening, right? Like we can both agree, Priyanshu, that not just the state, but there is a lot that needs to be done when it comes to women's safety, when it comes to ending violence against women, when it comes to young children in rural areas getting nourishment and the kind of nourishment that they need to thrive. But what I did see is immense progress. I think the digitization of India has really been able to help in making sure that there is a multiple pronged approach to end all of these problems. Obviously, it's not going to happen overnight. But it was very evident to see when I went to 1090, for example, आपने उसके बारे में बात की, to see कि digitization की वजह से how there is so much of live tracking if a call comes in. The police will come from many different kind of sections to be able to come in and talk to you live if you are feeling a certain way, if you're feeling threatened. There's a no tolerance, zero tolerance for violence. Of course, that will take a long time. But the fact that there have been implementation and the government of India is highly committed to making sure that that changes, I'm hoping in the next few years we'll be able to see that. But what is more important is people like you and me, especially you, with the power of the media, to be able to talk about changing the mindsets of society. Yes. Women need men to be their allies. Men and boys and other women that are the perpetrators of these crimes need to change their mindset, that women have agency in their own lives, and that will only come with education.
I don't remember the exact years after which you are coming back to Uttar Pradesh, but whatever I've read is that you have lived a considerable period of time in Bareilly and cities like Lucknow. Your childhood, your teenage life, comparing to it today when you come back to Uttar Pradesh, visiting and meeting people, government officials, UNICEF, of course, is having a major role. You see a positive change in the state, which has the biggest population. You said that the change doesn't occur over a day. But comparing to the past, the days you spend in today's Uttar Pradesh.
I mean, the statistics will speak for themselves. Today, there are more girls in school than there have ever been in India, in the history of India. Today, there is a lot of implementation when it comes to making sure that children's nutrition are tracked. Like I spoke about in my social media about this Poshan app that was created. And I've traveled to many other places in the world where there are malnourished children. But an app allows Anganwadi workers or doctors to be able to keep track of the children that come in, not just for that one visit, but for multiple visits. वो उनके घर जा सकते हैं, उनके पेरेंट्स से बात कर सकते हैं, उनको पोषण मिला कि नहीं, क्योंकि वो दिखाई देता है उनको एक ही ऐप में. इस digitization की वजह से you are seeing such a positive change. Even when you talk about when it comes to violence against women, I went to this center called the One Stop Center. Too many people don't know about that.
Asha Jyoti.
जी हाँ. So that One Stop Center, I met so many survivors of domestic violence, of rapes, of sexual violence, who said that if they hadn't come to that one-stop center, they probably wouldn't have known what to do with their lives. Yeah. But these kind of implementation and positive progress is really, really wonderful to see. And I really want to compliment the kind of progress that is being implemented. Now that change will require an education. Yeah. I asked the girls, how did you find out about this? Kisi ne kahin pe kahan se bata diya? I may have seen a poster about it. Not everyone knows that there are initiatives that have been taken for children who have lost their parents to COVID. There are so many people that don't know that there are initiatives that the government has taken to make sure these children get an education and that they get money to be able to make sure their schooling is not stopped. So अगर आप इन सब चीज़ों को देखें, it's a very different Uttar Pradesh than when I grew up.
So that means a perception change, a positive perception change, हुआ है, it has taken place.
जी हाँ, लेकिन अगर वही मैं बोलूँगी positive perception change, perception की बात ही नहीं कर रहे हैं हम लोग physical tangible initiatives की बातें कर रहे हैं जो implement की गई हैं. अभी उनको स्केल तक ले जाना अभी अभी हुआ है. Digitization इंडिया में भी अभी अभी आया है. And it's going to take a little bit of time, but it'll take time when people like you educate people and say that these are the initiatives that exist for you. These are the hotline numbers that you can call. This is for you. And then hopefully we will be able to see that change. लेकिन सबसे ज़्यादा change तो दिमाग में होना ज़रूरी है ना. वो stereotypes that we have grown up with कि लड़की को स्कूल क्यों भेजें, लड़की की शादी कराओ, वो बोझ है, पराया धन है, ये सब चीज़ें जब तक नहीं बदलेंगी, till then we won't really see change.
What you're saying, that brings to a very interesting question. See, you as a person, you come in from a middle class background, you grew up into small towns, you didn't have any godfather, you don't have nepotism, but you scaled heights which are unimaginable. So from that position, that vantage point, what's your message to the girls? There's millions of girls across the globe who admire you, see you as a role model. What's your message to the girls, especially the girls from India, the small towns, states like Uttar Pradesh and Bihar?
Well, I was very lucky because my parents always gave me the opportunity to have a voice. My father stood by my side. My father said, you don't have to go to the kitchen to learn how to cook. You should go to school. You should follow your dreams. So I think what I would tell young girls is अपनी आवाज़ ढूंढो. और अगर अकेले में आवाज़ नहीं मिलती तो कुछ ऐसे allies को ढूंढो, groups को ढूंढो. जब लड़कियां एक साथ आती हैं तो वो मुक्का बनता है. And वो मुक्का दिखाना बहुत ज़रूरी होता है, especially in a country जहाँ पे लड़कियों की आवाज़ को बहुत दबाया गया है. मेरे पेरेंट्स ने मुझे वो सिखाया था और मुझे ऐसी opportunities में डाला गया जहाँ पे मेरे पास वो choices थे. But I think what I would tell every young girl is to look for people who are your allies. Complete your education, fight for yourself, and find people that will fight for you.
Okay, fine. So your final comments then, the message which you say, you do feel that UNICEF is doing a good work in the state like Uttar Pradesh?
Well, I think UNICEF is collaborating with the government of India. Any country requires the government to care. Any country requires the government to fund, and that is what is happening here. What we need is personally in our own homes to be able to see the change. और change अपने ही घर से होता है, अपने घर की environment और वातावरण से होता है. So that is very important for us to see the change in our homes, teach our children what we don't want them to inherit.
Okay, the last, Priyanka is nostalgic about being back to Uttar Pradesh?
जी हाँ, मैं लखनऊ में स्पेशली आके मेरी फैमिली भी है यहाँ पे, फ्रेंड्स भी हैं, उन लोगों से मिल पाई मैं. अभी हज़रतगंज से पास की मैं वहाँ पे वेरी डिफरेंट हज़रतगंज. जी, मैं लमाटने स्कूल में गई थी. आई यूज्ड टू स्टडी देयर एंड व्हेन आई वाज पासिंग बाय हज़रतगंज इट वाज अ कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट हज़रतगंज देन व्हेन आई वेंट टू स्कूल.
Thank you, Priyanka, and best wishes.
Thank you very much.